Welcome to this video book. Today we'll be covering Patrick Lencioni's outstanding book, Getting Naked. And I've been covering some things that you could take out from it and how you could apply it. My five-star rating is absolutely true for this book, and I really hope you enjoy this. So a little bit about Patrick Lencioni. Pat is the founder and president of the Table Group, a specialized consulting firm that focuses on organizational health. He has written 9 books and sold over 3 million copies. So really well-known leader and a person and someone that you should get to know a lot more. Now, Pat is really famous for his book, The 5 Dysfunctions of Team, been very, very popular around the world with all kinds of groups and has had a huge impact. He has featured in Business Week, Fast Company, the Inc. magazine, USA Today, Fortune, the Harvard Business Review. So as you can see, the man is got something really valuable to share. Now in this book, he has a very counterintuitive metaphor, something that you don't expect. And that's why I want you to pay attention to this, because it'll go counter to whatever you think is the right way to do it. And he takes a very different angle in this. He talks about being vulnerable, about being humble, and don't impress the client that you know it all. So you don't know it all, and that's really the different angle, and we'll see how this plays out in this book. So it's really a parable about 3 fears, the 3 fears that sabotage client loyalty. So this is the business story, and so it's easy reading. And the person here is Jack. He works in a full service consulting firm. And in the firm that he works in, they believe that you got to present a polished front and be in control at all times. And then there is a big change. Jack's firm buys out a smaller competitor called Lighthouse, and his job is to merge the two companies together. But he finds them very, very different. The Lighthouse culture is very different in that they practice being transparent with their clients. They are vulnerable with their clients, and they don't pretend they have all the answers. They actually spend a lot of time with their clients on site at their offices. And the results are different. They have a smaller list of clients for sure, but with more depth. And what's important, they're more profitable as well. So Jack goes on a client visit, and they visit a Lighthouse client, which is a restaurant, and the job over there was to review some menus. The owner has already seen the menus, he approves of it, but the Lighthouse consultant thinks otherwise and tells the client the truth of it. Tells him, look, this is really not going to work for you. It doesn't fit who you are, and we really need to go back to the drawing board. How do you tell truth to a client when it is a little unpalatable? So in this book, he covered the first fear. The first fear is the fear of losing the business. So we avoid doing the difficult thing, and in protecting ourselves, the client becomes aware and gets it that we don't care enough for them. And they can smell our fear, and it's really not a good thing. The second fear. The second fear is the fear of being embarrassed. And it's really rooted in false pride. False pride makes us do weird things, and it's something to run away from. And so, as a result of this false pride, we hold back the questions and the suggestions that we should be sharing with the client, and it reinforces a comfort zone. This is what we call the disease of experts. They have to look like they've got it all together, they know all the answers of every single thing. And, in trying to be so clever, we end up being so wrong. The third fear is the fear of feeling inferior. So we are preserving our sense of importance. and really puffed up importance, if I were to say that. And it ends in a false posturing. But service, the word service is rooted in being a servant. And we have this fear that we might look and feel inferior, and feeling small is the fear that you have to battle. So, how do you overcome it? The first one, how do you overcome the fear of losing the business? Consult instead of selling. Don't bother about selling. Be generous, give ideas, give value. Give it away. But speak the truth about the situation, but say it in a nice way. You don't have to be a jerk about it. And have the courage to deal with the pink elephant in the room. You know what I mean by pink elephant? Something that's there and nobody wants to talk about it. And Pat calls it enter the danger. So really what I think it is, if you were to look at this matrix between empathy and honesty, empathy on the y-axis, honesty on the x-axis. And when you have low empathy and you're not being honest, you're just being a plain jerk, forget about it. There are other people who are, they're very honest, and, they say whatever's on their mind. They really don't have any empathy. He is being an honest jerk, and it's not a good place to be either. Uh, on the left top column, you have high on empathy but low on honesty. Yeah, the person gets it that you're a friend, but you're not really being honest, and that's what I call a weak friend. The greatest place is to have high empathy for the person, but also to have high honesty. Speak the truth in kindness. Overcoming. So second fear, the fear of being embarrassed. First, sometimes you just need to ask those dumb questions. Instead of pretending to be the expert all the time, sometimes you ask a really simple question. And you might even give a dumb suggestion. But you know what? In doing that, it stirs up something different. You start opening and seeing things in a different way. And that's why we say celebrate the mistakes that you make. Don't be afraid of being embarrassed. This whole idea of being vulnerable looks very scary to a lot of people, and they don't want to do that. But I really want to invite you that Pat has got something very valuable to say here, and you don't have to pretend to be the know it all. So we end up wearing some pretty masks, but I want to assure you that it's pretty useless and not worth going down that road at all. Overcoming the third fear, the fear of feeling inferior. Sometimes you just have to take the bullet for the client. It's about the client, so roll up your sleeves, do what's needed, and that's how you honor a client. And sometimes you just have to do the dirty work and make things work. So stop having this fear of feeling inferior and overcome it. We need to stop hiding behind the safety of so-called professionalism, sometimes thick reports, presentations, jargon, and all kinds of excuses. So the next steps, what should you be doing? First, start with a micro version and build your confidence. Sometimes you got to take some smaller steps. So what does it do? What does it feel like to practice being vulnerable and truthful? So practice being naked and vulnerable in all relationships, and the value is absolutely massive. The Greek word gymnazo is where we get the word gym from, which means actually to practice naked. And that's really the. So let's wrap this one up. I really hope you've enjoyed listening to this short critique of getting naked. Do teach this to your teams, use it or just give it away. And I, really want to thank you for listening in. Do take the actions required from this, and all the very best to you. This is Bert signing off. Look forward to talking to you soon.